I have a unique ability to make the dumbest mistakes. Oh, biscuit! I forgot to open the zippers. So I feel like if you are a parent, you almost can't talk about how to run your business without also how to juggle parent things, especially if you're the primary parent. I've had so many questions about zippers in the comments, so here we go. Hi crafty babes, I'm Brittany and I run my handmade business Ginger Patch Designs out of my shop bedroom in my home. In this studio vlog, I'm going to be answering a lot of questions that I've been seeing in the comments because people have been asking the same questions, all while sharing some, hopefully some samples of some smaller bag sizes and styles to kind of add to the spring collection, like not for Tuesday, but like after it goes live. By the time this video goes live, the collection will already be out. The Bells and Blossoms collection. I haven't had time to like practice making and fine tuning a smaller size to go with the larger collection. I wanted something in between this ginormous thing and this flat one. I feel like this is fantastic for, you know, not just makeup brushes or crochet hooks. I also thought this would be a great like charger bag. Like, you know how you have all these cords and different chargers and plugs and stuff whenever you're traveling? Like if I need to go to the library to work while my daughter is playing, I have like 3 different things that I'm stuffing down in my backpack. So this would be good for that as well. But I need something in between. You see what I mean? So that's what I'm going to be working on in this studio vlog. While I'm folding these magnetic bookmarks, here's a Jack Russell Terrier, let me reintroduce myself because wow, we've had like 500 new subscribers just in the last few weeks, which is crazy. Hello, welcome. I'm so flattered that you care what I have to say or make. But I'm Brittany. I used to be a teacher in the classroom and I've taught 4th, 6th, and 7th, but mostly 7th. I taught for the better part of 10 years, over 10 years. I coached volleyball for a year in East Tennessee, and then I coached cross country for 2 years, and my kids went to state both years. So proud of them for when I was there. And if I was still in the classroom, I would still be coaching. And I have 1 daughter. My husband travels a lot for work, and so I'm kind of holding down the fort here while he's gone, which I do talk about a lot just because running your own business, there's so much more to running your own business than just the business. It's all about like work-life balance and juggling all the things, especially as moms, we're more often than not the primary parent, and there's just, it's an art, like plugging in all the tasks that need to be done both in and outside the business in all of the time slots throughout your day and your week. And yeah, I talk about that a lot because I don't feel like it's talked about enough. I also just became a chicken mama. The baby chicks are almost 3 weeks old. They are starting to get stinky. And so hopefully in the next few weeks, after all this crazy weather's over, they'll be moving out into the awesome, beautiful coop that my husband built. We've got a pit bull right here. And then I forgot to show you the basset hound. I've actually had Ginger Patch Designs for, I think it's 9 years, if I'm remembering correctly, 2025, 2016. Yeah, I started in 2016 and it was totally just a hobby business. I just wanted to sew stuff. This was before I picked up crochet when I was on maternity leave with my daughter. A year after I started it, we moved here to West Tennessee. I became a market vendor about 1.5 years into having Ginger Patch Designs, and it was really, it quickly became, when I got back in the classroom here in West Tennessee, almost like it was a relaxation, but also an unwind from all the stressors of being a teacher in the classroom. And so even though in the fall I was crazy busy, literally this is what my fall used to look like, okay? I'd be home all summer. My daughter would go to daycare. I would be prepping all summer, you know, living my best life. And then as soon as we went back to school, it was game on, for coaching cross country. I had really long hours, and then literally right as cross country season would end, I was thrown into market season. I'll never forget, usually my first show was literally the weekend after the weekend that we would go to state. And it was game on after that. It was markets all the way until Christmas time. And then I wouldn't really do spring markets at all, just because I needed that break and that slower time to just make whatever I wanted to make, you know. And even though it was crazy busy in the fall times, I loved it because it was a different kind of busy. It allowed my mind to rest in those times away from the classroom and focus on being creative and building and growing, and just, it was a creative outlet for me. And then last year, I got the opportunity to leave the classroom, pursue this full time, super long story short. And here we are. I've been on YouTube since summer of 2024. This is currently the beginning of April 2025. And yeah, here I am. Hello. Chatting to all my YouTube friends. So I just got this out to do something while we were chatting, but I need to get my sewing out. But look at this red dachshund. We've got a spaniel, black dachshund. I sell so many of these labradoodles, and I know there's more colors. Hit me up in the comments, like, what other colors of labradoodles are there? Because I don't know. I don't know anything about labradoodles. I've tried to look it up, and I'm seeing very mixed things. Chocolate lab, another spaniel, German shepherd. Sell a lot of these. I would love to have a German shepherd, but I'm still kind of getting over losing my Baney last year. I almost said Pomeranian. Pekingese, Beagle, Doberman, and Boston Terrier. I also sell a lot of these. Oh wow, there's a lot. Let me show you the rest of them real quick. We've got Boxer, Treeing Walker Coonhound. I know that's specific. Rat Terrier. This is a holographic Shih Tzu, a Westie, a Blue Pit, Scottish Terrier, a Vila, a German Pointer. Okay, I think that's it. That was a lot. That was a big restock. If you're new here, I yap a lot, but I'm trying to like share what I use and just try and be a little proactive in what I think people are going to ask about, and just share my process and stuff. So with that, so like whenever I'm cutting fabrics for just like, I just need this one thing, I have a hard time doing that because I'm like, well, this one long strip is already cut to make more of those things. So I'll just go ahead and pre-cut as much as I can, but I really don't have time to do a lot of that today. I really just need one of each thing. So let me show you what I do with the scraps. Okay, if you saw what I was ironing on, this is like a really cheap wool mat that I got on Amazon, and it's great for just quick tabletop work like this instead of getting out the ironing board, which is really not a big deal, but like I'm very cramped for space a lot of the time, and I still have tubs in here, and I do use my ironing board as like an extra workspace, like a work table a lot. But like for today, it's Friday, I'm not getting out all my fabric stuff, so this is really, really handy. I don't remember how much it was, but it was not much, and it's really thin and slides in between my tables, and it's in my Amazon storefront if you want to get one for yourself. So I just cut these for the bow quilted keychains, and then I was left with all of these scrap pieces. So this one looks like, if I just unfolded it, yeah, that could be, if I cut a little bit off, that can be used for another piece for a bow quilted keychain later. But these strips like this, I can cut these. I can use these for zipper tabs. So I can go and cut these up real quick and put them where I keep all my zipper tab stuff. Let me even those up really quick because I see they're uneven, so I'm just gonna even them up real quick. I'll throw that away. And then this is a little bit bigger, so I might be able, I will just keep this the way it is because I might be able to use it for zipper tabs, pull tabs. It just depends. So I'm just going to put that back in the scrap pile. So I keep all the pre-cut zipper tabs, like whenever I have scraps like that, I keep it just in this little organizer. And honestly, since I came up with this system, I've got like zipper tabs, AirPod case tabs that are finished, coin pouch tabs. Like, this has saved so much time because there's nothing worse than being ready to assemble a bunch of bags and you need to go back and make like 3 or 4 of these itty bitty things. So I love this system. These are actually drawer organizers for this white drawer thing right here. And I keep meaning to put them in there, but I use them all the time. So I'm just keeping them over here for right now. If you sew and you have not discovered Quilters Select rulers, so they are obviously like all ruler brands. They come in all different sizes. This is a 18-inch one, but the underside has a texture to it that keeps it from sliding when you're doing your rotary cutter. It is just, it's superior quality. Like, highly recommend. This is not sponsored. I just really love Quilter Select. And this giant thing that's really hideous, I never cleaned it up. It's really ugly. This is not Quilter Select. It was just a cheapy big ruler that I got when I first started sewing, not knowing. This is another thing that I've been meaning to do. I didn't know when I first started sewing that I was supposed to take this, whatever is on this side, to take it off. And I've just never taken it off. It's supposed to be clear. One of these days I will clean it. But this thingy right here, this grip thingy, well, it's very grippy. If you do a lot of cutting and moving of your ruler, and then you're like gripping the underside of the ruler to pick it up, or you're sliding it, this thing is like 13 bucks. It is amazing. Okay, so I got all of those cut. Here's the flat pouches that I need to not restock, but make in the pictures. And then I did sell one of these white wildflower flat pouches at the market fail last weekend. It's just going to be referred to as the market fail. And I did a while back when my daughter was on spring break, I cut and drew, this is like a huge stack. It doesn't look like a huge stack, but it is, of bows. You can see where like I drew the outline of the bows, and I just need to stitch these. I'm going to try and stitch these today because this is something I can cut out and turn them right side out, like while we're just watching TV or hunkering down for another really bad round of bad weather tonight. Gosh, the frequency of the bad weather has been so much this year. Like, it's bad. Like, I grew up in the mountains in North Carolina, and I was not made for this. I'm not an anxious person. I'm like super chill. Not with this. With weather, I'm like, ugh. I do not do well with this kind of weather. So having something to do like while we're watching the radar and stuff is really helpful to me. Let me show you what I made during our TourCon 9 on Wednesday night. So this is, I haven't sewn the head on yet, but this is Crochet Grove's new pattern. It's a brontosaurus. I just need to sew the head on. And then I guess I was so nervous and sidetracked, I wasn't paying attention to the yarn that I was choosing. So this is Parfait Chunky, and I think it's just adorable. It's going to be adorable. I just need to put the patches on. And then this one, I ran out of yarn. And so it's like two-toned. I think it's okay. This is Sweet Snuggles Light. So one of the questions that I've had a lot about are my fabric tags, and so I have a small size and a large size, and this is what they used to look like. There's a reason I took the color out of the logo. So this is what I started with. Like these are the brand colors of my logo. This is a DTF transfer print that I heat pressed onto canvas. That's what I started with. I think it looks gorgeous. I love it. And I'm still going to use these with something at some point. But the reason I went black and white is because these colors won't go, I just think they will clash with a lot of the patterns. Whereas if you just go black and white, it's just going to look more uniform and just look more subtle and cohesive all the way around. I also don't put my tags on the outside. I know that that's super trendy. I'm not knocking it. I think it looks fantastic for those that do it. I just prefer to put mine on the inside because they do look like this. They're black and white, and I just want them on the inside. It's actually super easy and cheap to make these. I actually finally made an Amazon storefront. Sorry that took me so long. But the fabric, I'm calling it fabric paper. It's called something else. The fabric paper that I used to make this is under the sewing list on my Amazon storefront. It's super cheap and it's very easy to use. I used my Epson Eco Tank, but I'm pretty sure you can use an inkjet as well. If you would like me to make just a quick, not even a tutorial, just literally show you how I make these, it's so easy. Just let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to do that because I'm pretty sure these are the last small ones I have, and I'm gonna need to make some more. Whew, this weather is getting to me. I found this very amusing when I was going through my Amazon history of all of the businessy sewing crochet things that I've purchased that I can put in my Amazon storefront. I went way back because a lot of these things that I use all the time and that I would recommend, I've had for years. And way back to 2020, do you remember what happened in 2020? I don't know if we're allowed to say that C word on here because YouTube used to flag stuff. But the big C thing that happened in 2020, I, on a whim, started making masks, like fabric masks. We're not even going to talk about the efficacy of fabric masks, okay? But I made them on a whim because a friend asks, and I made some for her. And so I just randomly made 2 listings on Etsy for them. And the amount of stuff that I bought on Amazon back in 2020, shipping supplies, I ended up using bias tape because it saved so much time, just rolls and rolls of bias tape for the strings that went on the side of the masks to tie because you couldn't find elastic anywhere. What little I had, I used in the beginning. And so I ended up making ties, which I had a lot of nurses and first responders buy those because wearing them for long periods of time, it was super comfortable versus having it hooked around the ear. And I'm talking thousands of dollars on all this supplies. Little story time. So they sent all the teachers home, right? We were working from home, but it was not time consuming at all. And so when I tell you that is the hardest I have worked in my entire life, making masks. My daughter was only a year old, so she was very manageable. She took 2 naps a day, and in between that, she was not very fussy or all over the place. So this was very doable at the time. I worked probably 15 plus hour days, 7 days a week for 2 solid months. And then after that, I was still working probably 10 to 12 hours a day, 6 or 7 days a week for another month or so. I knew that there was a cap on this, that the warehouses and the production companies were going to catch up to the mask need. But in that interim, when there wasn't enough and literally no one had anything to wear almost, oh my gosh. Let's just say I paid off my truck. I was very blessed. I worked very, very hard and I was very blessed and I knew I had to get it while I could, but I paid off my truck with 2020 C word mask money. And so that was bananas. It was just crazy how much money I spent on supplies. I have never since bought so many supplies at one time. Okay, I've got everything cut, which is good. As long as it's cut, I can come and work on this whenever this weekend. It's 11 o'clock. I need to switch gears. I'm going to sew as many of these as I can in the next hour. And by 12 o'clock, I'm going to exercise. I'm gonna do it. I'm very weather motivated. Like when it's gorgeous outside, I want to go outside. I want to go for a walk. I want to go for a jog. I want to open the garage and get my little weights out, and they're little. I am so out of shape. I'm slinging little 10-pounders right now, but I'm going to do it in the living room. I'm not a living room workout person, but I'm going to do it. It feels like it's been a month since I've turned on the camera, but it's only been a few days. I did not, in fact, get these panels quilted this weekend for the launch that is tomorrow. So I'm going to do that here in just a minute. And then I'm also trying to figure out the smaller size that's going to kind of like accompany this really big jumbo size. And I was thinking like a taller, slim version would be best instead of just like another boxy just like this. And before people ask about what my process is literally this. I literally just take this finished one and I'm looking at how I finished the dimensions like on the side and the top or whatever, and I put it on the mat and just kind of try and visualize it in my head. That's not helpful to you at all, but that's what I do. And then more trial and error, so that I can say like I really did come up with this bag size. Am I the only one that does boxy bags? No. But I came up with this particular size on my own. So let's take a quick work break and talk about zippers. I've had so many questions about zippers in the comments. So here we go. Up until recently, I just used these like cheap vinyl. When I say cheap, they're not cheap quality necessarily. They're just your run-of-the-mill, you get what you pay for vinyl zippers, and I've used them in all different sizes. There's absolutely nothing wrong with them. The slide is fairly smooth for what you get. I finally started an Amazon storefront. Sorry. All of the ones I've ever purchased in the past, all the different sizes and colors I've posted in the Amazon storefront. There's like brown, gray. The gray ones are really nice. Like for some reason that slide is like really nice. I hope they're still that nice. And so then there were some questions about the YKK zippers, the true metal zippers, okay? And I'm just gonna show you what they look like in one of my wallets. These are some of my larger wallets that I still make, I just don't sell as many. They are on my Shopify and my Etsy store, but I use them as the zipper pouch and they're very nice. When I say it's not as smooth of a slide, like it doesn't catch or anything. It's just, it's metal. And so it's very nice and it's very, they come out to be anywhere from $1.25 to $1.75 per zipper, depending on how many you order at a time. I've ordered these on Zipper Stop. I've ordered them on an Etsy store before. They're not hard to find on Etsy. I would just not personally use these in bags or pouches, especially small ones, because they're just the glide. It's the glide. So I have been really into this zipper tape. Not only does it look fantastic, it glides really well. It's cheaper overall when you buy the tape versus the pre-cuts when it comes to like really nice or as nice as you can get without going full metal, or the plastic ones. And there were some questions of like how you actually use these, and let me tell you, I am not a pro at this. I'm gonna try to show you, but it's kind of a pain in the butt. And by all means, if someone wants to pop in the comments and like explain a better way than the way I do it, I would also like to know a better way than this way, because sometimes it doesn't do it like right away. Okay, so here's what I do. I do not actually cut the zipper tape until I've finished quilting the piece, just because there's a little bit of shrinkage when you do quilt the piece. If you're not quilting, you don't have to worry about this step. But I go ahead and cut it a little bit past here. Just, you'd rather be safe than sorry here. And I use one of my bigger scissors to cut that. And then you're gonna peel this back just a little bit, and then snip off just a little bit to where it looks uneven. And you're gonna take the zipper pull, they come with the zipper pulls, and you're gonna start from the round side and put this in. Watch it not do it because I'm trying to film it, and get it as close to even there as possible. And y'all are just gonna ignore my nails because I haven't had time to do anything with my nails. And then you kind of just guide it in there. And this is the wonky part that doesn't always work, and sometimes you have to do it again. I try to like hold it like this and just, oh, it's gonna do it. Oh my gosh, write that down. Now what's going to happen here is there's a little bit of unevenness because you started like this. So now that it's on there, you can split that. You can split that and trim that up. And now you can add your zipper tabs or whatever you want to do and trim it up from there. I almost always have extra here, and then I just trim it up after I do that. Honestly, the only reason I don't use the plastic ones, because I do think those look really cool, and I think depending on what fabric you use, it has a really nice finished look. I'm not knocking those at all. I've never used them. They seem to be really great quality. I just am trying to keep my overall cost of the item down, and so that's the only reason that I went with this metal-like, it's not metal, it's like metal. It's got the look of metal zipper tape instead of the plastic. Now, if you wanted to use the plastic and you don't mind upping your cost per item a little bit, like not as many people are using that. So like if you want to make your product stand out a little more, go on with your bad self. A unique ability to make the dumbest mistakes. So like whenever you're stitching like a bag or an item right side out, now due to my dumb mistakes, I always like check I don't know how to explain this, like I always check the seams just to make sure like nothing was missed and there's not going to be like a hole on the other side. So that's what I'm doing. Oh, that one's close, but I got it. Sometimes if it's close, like super close to the edge, I'll just go back over it again so it doesn't accidentally come out. Like, I don't know if you can tell what I mean. Like this stitch is not going to come out. I caught both ends of the raw edges very nicely, but right here, I don't know if you can tell what I'm talking about. I barely got that exterior piece on there, so I'm gonna go back over that just so it doesn't like come out. I was just sitting here thinking, like, because I've been doing a lot more talking in my videos lately instead of Well, I do show what I'm doing, but I'm like talking while I'm showing, and I think it's hitting different with different people. Feel free to tell me in the comments what you think, or if you would like more talking and working, or just working, combination of both. You're not gonna hurt my feelings. But I was just sitting here thinking, I think it is important to show like how you make stuff, whether it's to not just other small business girlies or crafty girlies and getting ideas from each other, but also to your customers, probably more in short form, just because it literally shows them that not only are you really are making the thing, but it shows the quality of the thing. Like anytime I can like backstitch a few times or just like reinforce some stitches or anything like that, I do it just because I the last thing I would want to happen is someone buy a bag that they really like or buy a thing they really like and then it breaks within a very short amount of time, or the stitches come in undone because the stitching was too close to the raw edge or something like that. You know what I mean? There was actually a customer just a few months ago. She bought one of my Minnie Mouse bags like years ago. I used to make these very basic boxy bags, like smaller than what I make now, not quilted, just very, very basic. And I don't make Disney anymore. But she bought, it was probably 3 or 4 years ago. I had to go back and look at when she bought it because I was curious. And she said she used it all the time because she traveled a lot for work. And it was one of these vinyl zippers. This goes along with our zipper conversation. It was one of this style of zipper. And after 3 or 4 years of heavy usage, the zipper finally broke. I mean, for a $12 or $13 bag, which is how much I was charging for them at the time, I was pretty proud of that. If the lighting keeps changing, it's because the sun keeps going over. And if you hear snoring, that is Ruby decided to join me today. Do you want to see her? Ruby Dooby. Ruby. Ruby. She cannot be bothered. She is not getting up because she knows I don't have food. Anywho, I had a question recently in the comments about like how I juggle mom life and small business things, which is a great question. The short answer is sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. Like if you're new to my channel, hi, hello, I'm sometimes a hot mess. I'm just trying to run my business out of my home, but I feel like running small businesses as a parent and like all the ins and outs of that dynamic isn't really out there as much. But like, I feel like if you are a parent, you almost can't talk about how to run your business without also how to juggle parent things, especially if you're the primary parent like me. I'm so sorry that I point at the camera a lot with my scissors. I need to stop doing that. They're just in my hand all the time. Today is actually a perfect example of me just winging it because my daughter's out of school again. So she was on spring break and she was home here and there, and then she went back to school, sort of, and now she's home again. So we've had crazy weather. I'm in West Tennessee. If you've been watching the national weather news, I don't need to explain more. But she's out again because there's been such severe flooding. And like this morning, when she's home with me, it's not that I can't get anything done because she's 6. She's at the age now where she can kind of entertain herself and play and whatnot if I do need to get things done. But I feel like being in here for extended periods of time, I'm just like, I feel like I'm ignoring her. You know what I mean? And like, I've talked about this before where, especially if she's home with me for long periods, like several days in a row, I will do a combination of, you know, daughter time, whatever she wants to do. We'll go to the park, we'll go to the library, like give her her attention, but also explain to her like, I also have to work, and she knows that this room is my work room. She's old enough to understand that now, but some days that works and some days it doesn't. Like if you are a parent, I don't need to explain. Sometimes your kids are just in a mood, or gosh, if they're sick, you know, sometimes you just can't. Like sometimes you just can't. And other times if you have to get some stuff done, it's after they go to bed. And it's tiring and it's late. That was probably not helpful at all, but that's just my experience. Follow me for more pro tips. No, in all seriousness, my overarching goal is to really try to maximize and focus what needs to be done in the kid-free blocks of time that I have. For example, she goes to school 7:30 to 2:30. So if I want to exercise or get stuff done in this room, whether it's at my sewing machine, at one of my machines that I have to be in this room, is when I get that done. And filming. Not that I have filmed with her here before, but there could be any number of mommy, 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 you know, every few minutes, and sometimes it's just not worth it. You know, I try to get the bulk of the important priority work done when she's not here. Now, if you are a parent without childcare, which I will be this summer, I have loaded up the camps. I can tell you that right now. She's going to all kinds of camps. And not that I need to say this, but I will. It's not like I'm trying to get my child out of my house. Like, she is a very social, likes to do all kinds of creative things. She loves to be outside, and that's great. It's just me and her. Like, I'm trying to sign her up for stuff that there's other kids, her other friends, other super fun creative things that are way more than I could ever plan for her, you know. I actually forgot about this basket, but this basket is a great example of like trying to make it work and prioritizing what I need to do in here and stuff that I can do anywhere in the house with my daughter on the porch in the living room. So I was trying to just get some bows stocked because this is something that is just going to be really helpful and handy if I get several orders to just grab the different sizes, right? And so I had, you know, the long strips of fabric all cut out, and so I kind of did this in stages over a few days. So I took the strips of fabric and I drew in pencil all of the sizes on all of these huge, huge strips of fabric. Put those to the side. The next time I was in here, I went ahead and sewed all the strips, right? And then I could cut them out and turn them right side out anywhere in the house, in the living room, while we're watching TV, whatever. And now all I need to do is stitch shut the little hole. So just stuff like that. Again, it depends on what your business is if you can do stuff like that, but you'll think of things. Speaking of, I have about 40 minutes to get these done before I have to take my daughter to the dentist, and then we're gonna go to a play date. And so I need to get these last few done and take pictures so I can add those to the launch tonight. And then hopefully, what are the odds that this practice tall skinny bag will work on the first time? Okay, here it is. We're gonna find out together if this is the size to keep. Gosh, it's such a mess. This is what your bags look like before they're actually finished. They are a mess. Oh, biscuit! I forgot to open the zipper. So, do you remember when I said I have a unique ability to make dumb mistakes? That's some foreshadowing. Oh, okay. So I'm going to feel the zipper plug on the inside. Got it. Okay. I think I got it. There we go. Got it. Okay, so this is not the keeper. I like the height. This needs to be narrower, and then this needs to be wider. Good morning. It is a late start this morning. It's already 11 o'clock. I had to deal with some cheeky things. The chickens are almost ready to go outside, maybe like 1 or 2 more weeks, but we had a frost 2 nights ago. They're not fully feathered, but they're on top of each other, so I had to get a whole nother second tub together. But it's okay. I will be working tonight like I always do. If you follow me on my Instagram, I posted a story last night like I was ironing in my living room at like 9 o'clock at night, and this is what I got done. These are all zipper tabs, and then I drew out on all these strips of fabric size small bows, and so I will stitch these up at some point, probably not today. I might get to it, probably not. And then at another time, I'll just cut them and turn them right side out. So this was the first monstrosity that we tried, and I needed to shorten the length. It'd actually be the height when you're cutting it. But the second time, I think I nailed the size. I like the height of this, and I like the width on the bottom. It's hard talking about measurements because like I feel like when you're cutting the fabric, it's length times width, but like when it's finished, it's height. Anywho, this always reminds me of Lisa Frank. I got this at Joann's like years ago, and I just didn't want to use my good fabric, and the black is the only cheap one long enough that I had to do it, but I think it actually looks pretty good. I am going to add, instead of doing tabs right here, like pull tabs like I did on the big boxy bag, I want to do like a loop, like a fabric loop on one side, and I'm deciding which, maybe I'll put them on both sides. I don't know. We'll see. I'll put it on one side and finish one and see how it turns out. So I felt so confident about this size, just need to add a pull tab, that I went ahead and cut into my pretty fabric. This is one of my favorites. It's like a white wildflower, kind of like boho wildflower. Before anybody asks, I got it at Hobby Lobby. You can go get you some if you want. And so I'm going to try to make one of these for the new product line. I've seen so many questions about materials I use in the comments. So real quick before I start quilting, like my favorite thing in this room, other than my sewing machine and my Epson printer, are my quilt clips. Like I use these every single day. If you sew and you don't have quilt clips, I need to get you some. So the thread that I use is sulky and Aurifil, and I use them for different purposes. I did learn when I bought my sewing machine probably 10 years ago. Like I had a cheap brother from Walmart just to play on for years, and then I spent really good money on, this is a Brother Innovis. If you're using the really cheap yarn that you get at Walmart, you could damage your machine. I did not know this until I took this to an actual sewing machine store to get it maintained. And so my favorite is the sulky cotton. I use 30 weight to do like the quilting and stuff because it's thicker and it binds everything together better. And I don't just use it to quilt the top. I will also use it to basically make the whole bag, just because especially those stitches, like these stitches right here that are really going to be holding the bag together when it has weight in it and stuff. I want to make sure it's like got really good thick thread in it. And then the other thread I use is called Aurifil. It's in my Amazon storefront. I'm probably not saying it correctly, but I like black, white, and gray. It's just standard weight sewing thread for anything that's not quilting. This is also your friendly reminder to change your sewing needle. It probably needs to be clean. Okay, moment of truth. I did put the pull, it's not a pull tab, it's like a handle in there, and I hope I did it right. It's been a long time since I've put one of those in there. Okay, so this is what we're working with here. Let me snip this, and it looks like I'm gonna have to go back in and fix something, but oh my gosh, it's so pretty. Y'all, the zippers really just make it. Look at that zipper. It's so pretty. This is really the cutest little size. This is what I need to go back in and fix. So what I did was I measured the width of this one, and then I just added like an inch and a half, but that was like way too much. And so I'm probably going to need to just, I'm probably going to need to snip off a good inch. So I'm going to go back in and fix that real quick. Okay, so here we go. I cannot tell you how great it is and handy just to like go ahead and have stuff ready to go, and you can just pull it out, whether it's zipper tabs or bows or whatever. Like, it's so frustrating to me when I'm ready to just sit down and sew and assemble and do zippers and all that, and then I have to stop and go find a little bitty zipper tab because I didn't have them cut, or oh, I didn't have that one bow made. Let me go find that fabric, cut it, sew it. I like to batch make stuff, and so it's just really, really handy to have those ready to go. Okay, so I did mess up a little bit. When I went back in, I guess I didn't make sure the fabric was flat enough. There's some puckering right here where it wasn't laying flat. Ugh. Well, that's a bummer. But the length on the pull thing is what it needs to be. See, it's poking out a little bit, but not too much like it was before. That's pretty perfect. I'll probably end up moving it up just a hair. But the overall size is like super perfect. I'm really happy with this. So even though I messed up the puckering on this bad, oh my gosh, it's crooked too. That's because I went back in and I didn't make sure that it was straight and everything, but that's okay. But the overall size, I felt very confident about the overall size of the bag, even though that needed a little tweaking. I went ahead and cut some of the fabrics that I feel like are going to be more popular just based on initial feedback and stuff. And so I've got the pink checkered. I don't have anything made in this yet, but it's just so beautiful. And it really goes with the green checkered. I went ahead and cut a few of these because I knew they would be really pretty. And then the green mushroom, like y'all are loving the green mushroom. Like, whatever I make in the future is probably going to also include this fabric just because. And this one, this will be the one that I end up keeping for myself. Cherry. And finally, the coquette bows. So if you saw last week's video, the market fail vlog, you saw that market was an absolute flop, especially as far as me trying to gauge how all these mix and match bags would be received and just kind of what I call market research. And then the following weekend, I did not go to that one in Kentucky either because we were in epic generational flooding over here in West Tennessee, and I'm still waiting on that guy to give me my money back. Hopefully he does. So I wanted to share like my thoughts on how much to market prep, because I know that's always a very common question. How I typically market prep is I base it on, previous year's sales if I've been to those events before. If it's a new event, I try my best to gauge the size of it. I take into account the size, the traffic on the Facebook page or event, like how many people like it, follow it, say that they're going, that sort of thing. And I try my best to see if any other of my vendor friends have been to it and just kind of go from there. But these are new products, new to me products. And historically in the past, some things for me that have done well online don't do well at all in person and vice versa. So, I'm erring on the side of caution. Like, I am prepping some of each, but I'm not going overboard. I'm not making like dozens and dozens of each of the products that you've seen in all my previous videos, because I know that might hopefully make more work for me later, but like I cannot afford to buy hundreds of dollars of fabric and batting and zippers and all that, and I have all this stock that's not gonna sell because it doesn't resonate. I love it. I think it's fantastic, of course, but if it's not gonna sell, I don't wanna be stuck with all this stock. I don't wanna make the same mistake that I did with the book sleeves. I know book sleeves are super trendy, especially the quilted ones, and I made these book sleeves like a year ago. I literally went to get the tub out of my closet because I have like half of a tub still of all of these book sleeves that I thought because they were so trendy they were gonna do well, you know, and they're made with fusible fleece, so it's got the texture, but they're not quilted. I'm saying all that to say I thought they would do fantastic without actually doing the market research, seeing how a few of them do before going overboard and buying a huge bolt of fusible fleece. Now I did make a custom book sleeves. My girl Sandy requested a zippered book sleeve with pockets in the light pink floral, and so I did make that for her. I was not intending to bring book sleeves to the shop. If someone asks in the fabric that I have, I'll be happy to do that. There's so many people making book sleeves, and that's fine. I just, based on how they did for me in the past, I wasn't gonna go that route. So I guess I'm gonna go pack a few orders from the launch. Thank you so much if you ordered from me. I'm gonna get started sewing some of these bows. And friends, please give this video a like and subscribe. It really helps my channel, and I will see you next week.